1 second. I'm going to just share the link on that. There we go. Follow.
All right, welcome to our new studio here in Champaign. We've got the 2007 #1 Ohio State Illinois game on our air right now, doing a little re-air. I'm sure we've all seen it, right? We all remember what happens, but I thought it'd be fun since this is on our air today, and we're just about at the start of the fourth quarter to get Brit Miller and Kevin Mitchell, a couple former Illini who are on the team, played that day, kind of break it down here for the fourth quarter. And so, guys, hope you're doing well. I'll give you a little sneak peek here of our studio because, like I said, we're gonna debut this here on Monday. But a little sneak peek there of what's to come. We've got the game on the big screen here, our huge story wall monitor. So that's how I'm viewing it today. Where are you guys at? How are you viewing it?
I'm over here in Decatur, Illinois. You know, the Prince of the Prairie here, Brit Miller, and actually get to work with Juice a lot over here as he's with the iFund and kind of has his territory. But like I said, I work in Champaign every day, so I get to kind of be a part of both worlds. And thanks for having me.
Yeah, Kevin, where are you at today?
I'm in good old Champaign, so I live kind of close to downtown. And like Brit said, been back for a couple years working in development. And it's always good to see his face from time to time.
Just
hey,
from
up close and personal, or?
So thank you for having me.
Oh, man, it's great. I appreciate you guys for jumping on. So there was so much excitement, especially offensively early on, you know, tied 14-14 after one, and it kind of seemed like the defense has started to take hold in the second half especially. And so you guys, two defensive guys, you know, what was the mindset going into that second half where, you know, you guys knew you were good, right? You had a couple of wins earlier in the year that kind of solidified that. But to be at #1 Ohio State in Columbus, what was the mindset there as we got, you know, into the start of the fourth quarter and even the second half?
Well, for me personally, like, so I only played the base defense at the time. So I was always a Sam linebacker. Me and Justin Sanders always swapped out whenever they come out with the, you know, more pass type of personnel. So I played a lot of the game as far as, you know, the run piece, and then played a lot of special teams. So we knew defensively we could handle them. We had a great back end. Our guys up front were the best in the country. I believe that, no doubt. I mean, I got to play behind 7 or 8 guys who went to the NFL, and I had a few guys behind me that were doing the same thing. So, and I think really one of the unsung reasons we won that game was special teams. If you watch that game, not a lot of yards after any kind of catch from whether it be a punt return or kickoff return, our guys were down there, and it was one of those games where we took all 3 phases and really kind of melted them together. And I'll let Juice kind of talk about more of the defensive piece because he played a lot more snaps than I did on the defensive side of that game.
Well, for us, I would say definitely, Brit, I think you would agree, a lot of this confidence started the year before. I mean, our defensive side, we were improving every week, and that just trickled into the offseason. And, you know, every offseason with Coach Lou, you're going to get better. You have no choice but to get better. That's what we did. But the best thing about improving our bodies, that confidence improved. And we just took it into every phase. And I remember that was the first year ran through. You're like, bring it on, right?
Where it was awful, but it wasn't that awful.
100%. But that confidence was there to where you knew this year was going to be different. So rolling into Ohio State, already having big-time wins under our belt, we knew it was just another day at the office. And we were confident to where if we didn't give up plays, we were going to be okay.
Right, but when we started the game, first play of the game, Ringo Lucky, so Fonte doesn't carry, and I love you to death, Fonte, if you're watching, but, you know, we just started the game, we gave a lot of those big plays up. It wasn't that Ohio State outdid us, and, you know, I listened to the commentators, and I cracked up, because I get it, they're doing a job, but it's like, you were on the field with us, you'd have known that we gave them more than they gave us. I mean, they were committing so many people to the box. You saw some of our touchdowns earlier in this game where everybody was wide open because they had to commit so many people to the box to stop Rashard, to stop Juice, to stop Daniel Dufresne. Like, we had weapons on the offensive side. They had to choose, and we just chose right, and were able to run some real RPOs and get down the field and score some points. And, you know, I don't care what you say. No matter what, you're number one and you've not been tested in a long time, they just got tight, and we were playing the games. We were used to the grind. I mean, the year before, right, Kevin? What were we only gave up 16 points to them and lost by 3. At home, and that was a game where we knew we could play with these cats. And it was one of those things that I remember being in the locker room before the game and just being like, today's the day. Our boys are with us. It's right. It's going to happen. You walk out in that stadium, it's pretty daunting, but it was quiet when we left. That was all about.
No doubt.
So as we get into this fourth quarter, the defense obviously played a huge role here, but how much confidence did you guys have in your offense? And, the drive's coming up here in just a little bit, the infamous drive that I think all Illini fans will remember forever. But, how much confidence did you guys have defensively in Juice and the offense that they could get it done and hold on?
I'd say for me, they were already putting up points throughout the game. I believe at that point, since it was 28, we already had those 4 touchdowns. And so we knew that defensively we would have to do our job, but at the same time we had confidence, but at the same time it was a gunfight, and we were going back and forth, and we were making plays, they were making plays, and we just knew if we held off, we were going to be all right.
At what point? Go ahead, Brit.
Well, just to add to what Juice is saying is, please take into account the year before this, the games were so tight, the offense was struggling, and we knew they were close. They just didn't have the horses that they needed. We were fighting on the sidelines. We were, like, as a defense, we're holding people to less than 20 points and losing by 2, losing by 3. We had so many games that year before, and this was, Juice and Aurelius and, just all these young cats really kept progressing, and this was that game where it all kind of came together. But a year before, we were fighting on the sideline because the defense is there keeping us in the games, and the offense was struggling, and they just need some more continuity, and Juice needed to mature. And, this game, we didn't have to play defense the last 8 minutes of this game. It's unheard of. It's unheard of. And so to say, I saw Juice, he's a little shaky in that, we believed in him, but we were definitely ready to go back if necessary. And with Coach Zook making the calls that he did, going for it on 4th down, and, a lot of people say, hey, Juice was the guy that said yes. I think everybody on the sideline agreed with him, was, hey, we're going for that on 4th down. We're going to see that play here in a little bit, but, these guys made big plays down the stretch, both defensively and offensively and special teams, and it took everything we had that day to beat Ohio State. Right.
And like you said, Brit, you were on the sideline. Did you get a sense that the Buckeyes were tightening up a little bit, or that, they were starting to doubt the fact that, you guys had 7 wins, you were good at this point, but it's not like, it's still the Illinois stigma in a sense that, like, hey, Ohio State's not supposed to lose to Illinois. Did you sense that from them?
Big time. And one of the things is all the fans are watching this game today and have watched it and will continue to watch this game. Watch how much Ohio State blitzes to stop the run. That's when you don't believe in your defense. If I have to blitz to stop you, and when I say blitz, I mean right here. They're bringing 2 guys, a little X-cross blitz up the middle, man-to-man on the back end. Hey, what happens is they're committing so many people to stop one thing that they can't bounce back. And that's when you got a team, is whenever they're doing everything they can, basically to, stop one thing. And that's when we knew, all we got to do is run the ball. And we switched up a couple things. We started running zone read to the tackle, the defensive tackle, and it's something that hadn't been seen, I don't think, in a long time. And they didn't adjust well. And I had the luxury of playing with James Laurinaitis and Larry Grant, guys that are linebackers here for Ohio State, and they've admitted they just got meat and great players. I just think our talent and the guys that we had, I would say the mentality that we had, because a lot of the practice squad guys didn't make it through this year. There was a lot of hitting going on in practice, and by the time we got to the games, it was on.
Yeah. And you know what we also have to add is we had some young guys step up. We had
Brian Gamble,
BG, and then also Miami Thomas, because Avante got hurt. I believe that the second drive to where Miami as a freshman had to step up. And I hated having freshmen on my side of the corner because you don't want to have to worry about anybody, right? Like, I just want to give you the signal and be good, right? And that's the thing. Harrison did, and Miami worked well that game, and it all came together.
Well, and I think too. I mean, people like when you watch this game, bringing up a little bit of Jerry Maguire from Rod Tidwell. Hey, when Vontae got knocked out, or he knocked himself out tackling Little Wells, he got up, started dancing. He didn't know he'd been knocked out for 3 minutes on national TV, and he gets up and he's jamming. He thinks he's going back in the game, and but that's the kind of guy Vontae was. Sacrificed the body for the team, and it was just one of them days where everything kind of fell into place. And we get our guns here. Richard's just a guy that makes people miss. Another 3 yards right there. I mean, he was so good, and people don't realize, and I think we maybe even underappreciate him a bit because he was just better than everybody else, and just a little bit of blocking, and that boy's out the gate, and he proved it at the next level too. So, we got a ton of love for that guy.
All right, so we're on a commercial right now, but we're coming up on, I think this is maybe the last time you guys play defense, or one of the last times in the game that you guys are out there, because they're not able to convert here, and then you're able to get the ball back. Just the amount of belief, I guess, and you had mentioned it, Brit, that it was the year before, because when you look back at the 2006 season, there was a lot of close games in there where it was just about maybe learning how to win. I mean, how much of that was the confidence and the ability to just close out a game, like you had mentioned?
I mean, I'll kind of start this one up for you, Juice, but I remember the year prior, we go and we went on a field goal. We get our first Big Ten win against Michigan State. And, I remember Jay Lehman just giving me this biggest hug. And we've been battling since our Eisenhower Champaign Central days. And he just looked me right in the eye and said, man, we're not losers anymore. And, it was just it's just like it still gives me chills just saying it. And being a part of that moment and realizing, hey, we're not. And granted, we had some really close games and we just never came through and things didn't go our way. But it eventually did. And the Rose Bowl season is definitely a culmination of that. And just throughout the U of I history, I can't wait for these guys to string 3 and 4 together, 3 and 4 years of success together. And I think that'll be the turning point in our program. And I think we got the right guys at the helm right now with Josh and Lovey and everybody else. So I'm excited. I'm bummed that we're not playing just yet, but I'm glad we're getting to. But yeah, it's kind of. I know I got off the rails there, but that is what.
Yeah.
Good, brother. You good?
No, Kevin, and I throw it to you in that same sense and saying, how much parallel do you see in that where, maybe last year this team learned how to win and now they're set up for success with seniors. And, when you have 25 seniors, you should win, right?
It helps. Definitely helps because everybody now knows where they're supposed to be.
Right.
Everybody knows their strengths and weaknesses, right? And hopefully by that point, especially with Lovey now, this is his team, fully his team, to where, they bought into his philosophy and had time to grow within the system and meet his expectations. I really believe they can just continue to just grow and add. And the best thing about this is they're adding good depth, and I'm excited to see the Beesons, and the younger cats. I'm excited to see the Fords. And that's what this is all about. But we had to get to this point. Rome wasn't built overnight, and that's what I love about Josh's philosophy and giving these coaches time to grow in the system. It's been phenomenal to watch.
How much pressure do you guys feel like you put on Beckman that day for him to, really? He had 3 interceptions. He did not play very well. How much was that a key to your guys' success? And obviously one of those big picks here that really set up the game.
Well, I think, I got to give some love here to Juice and the guys in the back end. Kevin Mitchell and Justin Harrison had everybody scared in the entire country. You want to run across the middle, you're going to get hit. We don't care about penalties. We don't care about your feelings. We don't care that your grandma's in the stand. We're going to hit you. And they had that. They had guys with alligator arms in pregame. And so nobody wanted to catch the ball for Beckman, first of all. And in Miami, Juice already mentioned it. This is Miami's, I watched him right there, interception. This cat plays the ball in the air so well. He wasn't like our prototypical type of guy on our defense. I mean, look at Kevin. He looks exactly the same as he did. He hits you with that big old head, right? Miami's like this small, lanky guy that goes out and makes plays. And so we were used to just knocking people out of the ballpark, hitting them. And we get a guy like Miami comes in with a little finesse, just gets 2 interceptions, I believe. or gets an interception and gets his hand in the end zone and still got one. And he just played a really good job. So not only do we have a monster defensive front, but I think the back end, Kevin, Justin Sanders, Miami, Vontae, all these guys, nobody was getting open. And they knew it, and they knew they were going to get hit, and that helps every defense. And it's unfortunate the NFL don't allow hits no more. So.
Tell us how you really feel, Brit. Yeah, so this is the time here where it's starting to get serious, and Kyle Hudson, Mattoon product there, coming up with a big catch. This point on the sidelines, you had mentioned, Brit, that there was multiple people saying you should go for it. I mean, did you feel like you really had to convince Ron to go for it, or do you feel like deep down he knew that was the right play?
I think that if Jim Tressel doesn't call the timeout, we punt.
Really? Okay.
And, there's a lot of things that went right for us that day. The second play of the game for us, Daniel, that's probably a fumble. But early in the game, a lot of people are burning the red flag on that, and it worked out for us. And then, this whole deal with, Zook really, being patient. I mean, it was one of the moments where I think in his career it worked out really well. Obviously for all of us, but it's just one of those things where he was going to do the right thing as a head coach. I don't know that me or Kevin or anybody on that field at that time says, we're on our own 40, we have the lead, we're not going to punt. You got to have belief on both sides of the ball. So I'll let Kevin take it, but I think it worked out. That's all I can say.
And Brit, you see it there on TV. I mean, it is that close. I mean, you're right there. 4th and inches to a T.
But we have a quarterback that's 270 pounds. It's like people, he's 235. No, he was 270. We had to stop him from lifting because he was getting too big and strong. We had to put him on the D line. I mean, Juice was, he was big, especially that game.
I'm with you 100%. I think it's one of those, if the timeout didn't occur, we would have punted because at the same time, that's the safe play. We were up. Our defense was playing well. I will say this, I did feel in that moment, though, they were starting to gain a little momentum. So I did feel that now. At the same time. Yeah, and at the same time, but it's like, we were a new team to where that confidence came into place where it was like, everybody was like, man, go for that. Like, that's what it was about,
Right. We were playing to win. We didn't have anything to lose. Yeah. I mean, we still weren't ranked. We beat 2 top 10s at this point. We still weren't ranked. They didn't believe in us. And I mean, so yeah, let's go for it. Let's put our foot in our throat and figure, and finish this thing.
Right.
And we're getting ready to see it here. I wouldn't want to be in Ron Zook's mind right now. Let's put it that way.
Well, it looked like he almost called timeout himself. Like he was pretty close to calling time and thinking about it. And then you guys line up to punt, and then Tressel calls timeout. And you said that's where you feel like it all changed.
Big time. You're about to see it right here. There's going to be some chatter on the sideline. A lot of us as special teamers even ran off. I think I was playing personal protector that game, so I could get out and kind of beat their blocks a bit. And we run off the sideline like, Coach, man, it's like inches. Like if we don't think we can get inches with Martin O'Donnell, Ryan McDonald, John Asamoah, Kim Millington. Like, we got some studs out there. There's guys, they're still big and strong and still could slap, 90% of the Big Ten around just because they're big, big people. And, so we didn't believe in ourselves with Richard and Juice back there. We had another NFL guy, Russ Weil in the backfield. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, in retrospect, obviously it all worked out, but, I'm glad it did happen the way it did because if we'd have punted, like I said, Juice kind of hit on the head. They did have some momentum. Yeah. We weren't stopping them as easy. But like I said, it's one of the things that, coaching is, you're out there leading that team. Tressel took the time out. He didn't like the look. We don't get to play defense anymore.
I think, but that's also the difference between going into that 4th and inches, having 6 points or 7, right?
Right.
Because you have 6 points, you're kicking that. You're probably more likely kicking that because that 7 points, that's that safety net to where if they don't get it, cool, we'll just line up. We have time. If they do bring it down, we have time to bring it back. We can go into OT. Like, it just gives you so many more options.
Right. Well, we'd have, thinking about it, we'd have probably taken an OT, like been happier with an OT. I mean, win or lose, but it was that time. It was our time to, I think, just show everybody what we were about, and just the consistency factor of what we put into the 3 years with Lou. And I mean, it's like watching this game, and like just honestly, it's not my favorite game of the year because beating up on Penn State, beating up on Wisconsin, those are the teams that I think match us a little better as far as the run game and our ability to stop that. But here's the play right here, Big Raheem.
He's basically
the fullback because Russ was hurt. Yeah,
that's what he's basically saying. In those other games, since they're run teams, he just got to play more snaps. That's what he was.
Hey, you got more tackles too because you couldn't cover. Whatever. I'm not over here telling people that.
Yeah, and it wasn't even close on the first down. I mean, he had it by 3 yards there.
Yeah. Juice is a big, powerful guy, and then you're going to see here. Ohio State really starts to gamble and guess, and with that, it's you'll see these guys are going to start blitzing a little bit, a little cross dog blitz. James Lornice is creeping right now, so you'll see kind of how that ends up for them. Safeties are creeping down, and everybody, Richard's making guys miss 2-3 yards, stays in bounds. I mean, it's perfect. That's a great first play, especially when you're trying to run out the clock.
Well, guys, we got about 2 minutes left here on our Zoom time today, but just overall the feelings after the game and the legitimacy for you guys to be in a point where, hey, Illinois was on the map again. What's that like 13 years later?
You got her, Juice.
13 years later, it's still that wow moment. I think it more so has hit me now being in development and talking to the fans and running into folks that were there or running into former athletes or former students that were jumping off the Alma when we got back.
Yeah.
Seeing all the fans on the tarmac, and my first thoughts were when we got blown to smithereens 40-2 in 05, and Coach Dish said, hey, it will be different when we get back. And literally it was. And then to go, that win kind of helped solidify all of that hard work. And now to kind of look back, the older me, I appreciate that, and I'm hoping the most success for this team just like that.
Right. And just one last thought of that. I got to celebrate with my family in the crowd after that game, give mom and dad a big hug, and that's a memory I'll have forever. I know that they will too. And I mean, U of I gave that to us. We earned it, but I'll say that being a part of that program allowed that to happen. So it was awesome. And it's a great memory to have and be able to watch it.
All right, guys.
Watch our own guys out there again.
Well, hey, appreciate the 25, 30 minutes here just hanging out and chatting Illinois football. Always one of my favorite things to do, and it's fun to I know you've seen this before, but it's fun to watch it every time. So you guys.
I'm going to watch it till the end.
All right, guys. Well, hey, be well. Thank you so much. We'll chat soon.